How's it going? This is my newest build here. This is a Felt Versa Path hybrid bike I found on Craigslist for 200 bucks. It has a pretty basic front suspension, so it is a hardtail. 29er, so 700C wheels, so a nice hybrid setup, and it came with the rack already. I had my own seat with a seat post suspension, mirror, and some of the grips and stuff I already had around, but I'll kind of tell you how much all this would cost for you to do yourself. Then I installed the Tongsheng mid-drive down there, and 750 watt version. So I wanted to see how that worked out, and I'm going to do a video comparing the 500 versus 750. It's a nice enough motor, torque sensing. It is not super powerful, and the throttle's a little like it doesn't have a lot of oomph with the throttle compared to some of the other like the Fang mid-drives. But it's nice to have the torque sensing experience if you like that. So for that, and super efficient. Like I'm getting, with this 40 volt 15.6 amp hour Yoast power battery, I'm getting, if I just ride like between 60 and 100 miles of range with this battery, so pretty insane. I'm going to show you just some of the things that came with this particular Tongsheng kit. Alright, came with the motor and all these connectors. I kind of used some of this stuff to kind of hide them. I didn't do a final cleanup on this yet. For this particular drive, the lights work on the same cord as the speed sensor. So a speed sensor here, and this splits off for the lights. So I have this wired in for rear lights, even though I don't have the rear light on, and I have the front light that came with the kit wired in up there. The mid-drive goes in real nice and easy. The bottom bracket on this bike came out like, oh my god, it drove me nuts. It was really hard to get out. But this Tongsheng drive mounts here, but then it has a secondary mount, though you can't mount your kickstand there anymore, right behind here. And those two together provide an incredibly strong mount that doesn't seem to want to move or walk around like some of the other mid-drives. Comes with this universal throttle and this big old monster display that I'm sure you've seen. Oh, turn the battery off. Turn it back on. I use the keypad. You don't really need the keypad because everything is duplicated here on the screen as well. It always starts out in eco mode. Like I said, I'm almost exclusively riding in the highest turbo mode, and that's still fairly tame. But yeah, it's nice and easy to use. I didn't even do the brake cutoffs at all. With the torque sensing, I didn't even feel like it was needed. So I still got to go tidy up this particular wire, but you know, it's a pretty nice setup on a hybrid bike like this. Taking off on the mid-drive here. Throttle only here on the mid-drive. The throttle on this is pretty tame, even though you can leverage gears, of course. It maxes out in about 20 miles per hour generally for me, so it seems to be tied to the speed really well versus not through gearing or anything. Display, you can either use the buttons on the display or the same buttons are repeated over here on the keypad, which I have a kind of an opposite side normally. I was just trying something different. I'll probably switch back from having the thumb throttle over on the right again. I think it actually sets up better for this kit. But assist level 1 is very, very light. You'll barely feel it. Assist level 2, you actually get a little bit there. I'm not spinning, I'm kind of spinning at the same speed. And then here, assist level 3. So if you just pedal at a constant speed, you just notice a slight bump, and you should have heard maybe a slight change in the sound of the motor. I'm almost always riding in turbo mode on this particular mid-drive. You can see right there, I just changed gears while not even changing my pedal cadence, and the motor is gentle enough, it didn't even make a huge clank in the drivetrain. So it's very nice and responsive. Here, I'm gonna get into a lower gear. It's fully, and then you can kind of hear the motor come in. So that's the motor coming in basically full on. It's pretty tame. It's nice and smooth, yeah. So yeah, the torque sensor comes in super smooth intuitively. Just the amount of power that it puts out just doesn't really feel like 750 watts. which it's fine. It just doesn't feel that powerful. Now I'm going to show you a comparison here a little bit to Sarah's Bafang BBS02 that is also 750 watts, and we'll do a little comparison side by side throttle, and you'll just see that the difference of power is substantial. There's supposed to be a way to kind of like hack the firmware that I haven't attempted to get a little more amp output from this kit. And I think if that was the case, and if the throttle was more lively, this kit would be awesome. I think some people are going to be a little disappointed here. I just hit full throttle, and you can see it was not anything like, that's not even really enough to like cross a street. See, I'm gonna just, for instance, here I'm going to pretend this little sidewalk here is a street, and if I wanted to goose it, it pauses. You're better off just pedaling harder and using the torque sensor. It's really just a throttle that can help you from a takeoff gently. It's not a fast throttle at all. So Sarah, can we go side by side about the same speed for a second?
Yeah.
And I want to have you hit your throttle, and I'm going to hit my throttle. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So I'm full throttle, Sarah's full throttle. We were basically riding at the same speed. You can just see the difference in power of the 750 watt coming out of the Bafang. So this kit's got very nice smooth assist. Like I said, it's not very powerful feeling, but it does feel smooth. Feels pretty close in line to like a Bros. I don't know if it doesn't feel as good as like a Bosch though, but its efficiency is great. With this battery I have on here, I'm getting like 60 to 100 miles of range. It's insane. So it's, you know, for the price, it's not a bad kit at all. I just wish there was a way to liven up some of the things, get a little more juice out of the throttle, and I think this motor could actually kick out a lot more. I'm going to do a little, just show you what I can do for a little top speed here, and I'm going to get in high gear and let's So I'm basically in my highest gear. We'll see where the GPS settles out. I'm having to kick it pretty hard. To get, you know, in the neighborhood about 25. I could probably sustain 20, 21 for longer rides, just because the amount of effort you have to put in. That's another place where I think being able to up the output would give you just a bit more speed for your effort. Once you get used to this torque sensor, it's really intuitive, especially just riding in the highest output level, the turbo level, to just, like, I'm just right at the edge of where I'm engaging the torque sensor, and with just a pedal or two, I can really up my speed, and it's really nice for if you're doing little trails to get up a little hill. So I'm going to show you a little hill right here. Because of a little bit of the lower output of this Tongsheng, even though it's 750 watts, you don't have, you really need to leverage your gearing to climb hills. So this is a fairly small hill, but I'm gonna grab a couple more gears down, and then I can climb a lot, but you really have to get in the right spot with the torque sensor. This torque sensor is also nice enough that you can ride no hands with it in the highest assist level, and it's not like, it's not throwing my balance way off. I got a shit ton of weight back there in these chairs too, and that's pretty good balance on this bike. Yeah, one of the best things about these mid-drive kits is the noise level. It's very, very quiet. Even under like full assist, like it's a, so you enjoy more of the nature sounds. That's also one of the benefits of not having huge, big old like fat tires. You just don't have nearly as much noise, and then friction, of course, because noise is energy, is friction from those bigger tires. All right, so how much did this cost me? Like I said, I got the bike for 200 bucks. The battery was like I think 220. So that's 420, very nice. And then the mid-drive was about 500, or right around $1,000. Like, and this is performing better than like $2,000 and $3,000 e-bikes. Honestly, the way this torque sensing experience is, it's not as refined as like a Bosch or a Bros or something like that, but it is really usable, and it's easy to get in sync with the way the torque is put out. Supposedly there's also some way to hack this firmware, which I might look into, because I feel like if this had, especially with a throttle, another like 5 amps of output where the throttle actually kicked and got above the speed you're at very well, or took off from a stop, I would have a little different opinion on the kit. I like the smoothness, I like the efficiency. I think for the 750, I feel like I wish I had some more oomph to me. Maybe with the 52 volt battery, maybe that would really help out as well. So, hey, this is my newest bike. I'm riding it. We're out here today. It's a beautiful day.